All right, we're going to jump right in to week one, our predictions with the game in Brazil between the Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. So it's the Chargers getting getting one put over on them with the home game in Brazil against the Chiefs, which is just a pretty tough draw to start week one. The Chargers have become a sexy pick to upend the Chiefs this year, but that was after they had or before they had Rashawn Slater go down. All in all, I do think that the Chiefs are going to win this game, but I'd be curious to see what you guys think. If Harbaugh and Herbert, is this the year that they're going to get over the hump?
Well, I mean, I guess I'll pick it up from there for you, Pat. Well, from the get-go, I mean, I think the Chargers have to run the ball better. Najee Harris is going to be the second back behind Amarion Hampton. I mean, they're already down Rashawn Slater, as you mentioned. They're having to move Joe Alt to the left side. Trey Pipkins going over to right tackle. I think what you're really going to see a lot of is probably a lot of Amarion Hampton getting in there, but I think it might also be another year where they're, especially if they get down early, it's going to be Justin Herbert, I think, having a hard carry them. And we saw that was kind of a problem last year because each time that they played the Chiefs, they were only held to just like right around 20 points or less because there wasn't any balance in the offense when you're talking about last year. Obviously, there is a chance that they're going to be able to run the ball with Amarion Hampton coming in there. I think they're going to have faith in him, and I think they actually could have some success, especially with the play calling when it comes to Jim Harbaugh. But I really think right now it's going to be. I still think I'm going to take the Chiefs in this game, and what really is the reason for that is kind of you look at last year, the explosive plays that we kind of knew the Chiefs to that kind of branded them of who they were. I think what they had said going into this season was kind of a desire for more explosive play calling. I think you're going to see a lot of, obviously Hollywood Brown is going to be, I'm not really sure on his status going into the game, but I know Xavier Worthy, they had him last year. He was a big part of their offense. And I think you're also going to see a more motivated Travis Kelce going into this year, kind of with how things petered out last year, more hyper-focused on, he got all the nuptials out of the way. I mean, I think this really could be a very good year for him in the intermediate passing game. What really changed from last year was they took away kind of the single high coverage looks for Patrick Mahomes, and that's why we saw a very subdued Patrick Mahomes that we did last year. And I think they're going to be – I think they are going to be having to go back to, double high coverage to challenge the speed that these receivers are going to have. They are going to be without Rashee Rice for this game for the first 4 games. I think that will be playing a big factor. But what they haven't been able to do is kind of schematically use the deep ball to, I think, at least we're just talking of last year, schematically use the deep ball to their advantage. I think that's something that they will be able to get here. I don't really have a side that I'm going to pick in this game, but I do like the over in terms of what the Chiefs are going to be able to put up and the play and the way that I think the Chargers are going to call this game. A lot of time of possession on the ground, and I think you will see some explosive plays within probably that 35 to intermediate 35 yards and in if they get past midfield. And I think we could see a lot of points coming out of this game.
I'm gonna hit the boink, the ka-ching, whatever, to go opposite of that. And I like the under in this game. Now there are some things that I think that the Chiefs and Chargers can both exploit, like offense-defense matchups. I think losing Poona Ford actually for the Chargers is kind of a bigger deal than I think the national media will tell you or whatever. Poona Ford was really good for the Chargers last year. He's now a member of the LA Rams. Really stout in the interior, but in any case, I like the under in this game. Number one, you got 2 divisional opponents that are very familiar with what each team wants to do offensively, and just typically you see early on in the year, I think offenses tend to struggle out of the gate and then kind of find their mojo later in the year. It's usually the first couple of weeks of the season is really dominated by defense. So I think the familiarity factor, I see this being a 23-20 type football game. It's kind of, you mentioned it, Mike, how these games have kind of played out between these two teams in general. But one thing that really intrigues me is for Kansas City, having Isaiah Pacheco back, I think is a big deal. I don't think he was fully healthy when he came back from that broken leg last year. So I think Pacheco's a big deal. The one thing about the line plus 3.5, and I don't know which way the crowd is going to root for in this game in Brazil, but if we're just going to grade it off of a neutral field, that does feel like a lot of points to me, especially what I expect to be a pretty relatively low scoring game. I'm with you guys. I do think the Chiefs win, but again, I see it as a 23-20 type football game. I think it's really close. If you had to pick a side, I kind of like the Chargers. I think the Chargers are some value at plus 3.5, especially if you can get the hook there, because I don't think the Chiefs are a team that are going to be able to get a ton of margin in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs, and I am going to take that under. I like your explanation there, Turtle, but I also like what you had to say too, Mike. I guess the most intriguing matchup going into this game is the Ladd McConkey matchup with whoever he's going up against. I feel like if the Chargers are going to win this game, it's going to be based on him exploiting his matchup, Ladd McConkey, with whoever that is. It'd be interesting to see how the Chiefs used Trent McDuffie this year. Their big pickup this offseason was Christian Fulton at corner. So a little bit, I guess, new things for the Chiefs, but I still think they'll control the time of possession. I do think Isaiah Pacheco is going to have a much bigger role than he did late last year after the injury. I believe the rookie Jalen Royals is out. So with Rashee Rice and Royals out, Hollywood Brown has an ankle injury. I would expect Travis Kelce to at least get a lot of targets early on. I'd be interested to see what his reception over-unders are. And then I think special teams, I think the Chiefs have an opportunity to win in special teams. And for the most part, they've been able to win ugly for a long time. It feels like for the last 18 months or so, they've been winning ugly. And without all of their receivers, I feel like they still have to play ugly in a sense. But the Chargers do as well. So I'm going to take the Chiefs winning ugly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think since we're in lieu of our AFC predictions this week, I need to ask, though, what do we put the Chargers' chances at of taking this AFC West this year? Because like I said, there were a lot of people who were saying that they could overtake the Chiefs. People are predicting that the Chiefs are going to fall off every year, and they just never seem to. They're the most complete team in the NFL at their best. They know how to win, as you referenced, in close games. And they just added a premier offensive tackle prospect who, by all accounts, in the preseason looked like a future All-Pro. So, I mean, I am inclined, I know we're not doing our predictions, but I would obviously say that the Chiefs are the favorite in the AFC West. But, the Broncos have a chance. The Chargers, I don't know how you guys feel about the Raiders, but what do we think of the chances that the Chiefs aren't the best team in the AFC West this year? Turtle, I'll just ask you to
Yeah, I mean, I like what the Chargers have done this offseason. I think losing Rashawn Slater is tough. That might be tough to overcome. I just don't love the depth that they have left at O-line, and I think that's one of the position groups I think matters a lot for Harbaugh. I mean, obviously Joe Alt slides up to left tackle, but so I don't think you're going to have any drop off there. But I don't know. I mean, out of all the teams that are I think the Raiders got better. Obviously, the Broncos had a really good year last year. I think they got better. It's a tough division. I think some weird stuff could happen. It's just I got to take the most consistent team that is well coached, and right now it's Kansas City. Not saying that the Broncos aren't well coached under Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh. Chargers aren't well coached either. But look, even if you take like the Chiefs defense, for example, Spagnuolo somehow always keeps that unit between like 5 to 13 in DVOA. no matter who's out there.
A
And
lot
we
of
know yeah, and you know what you're going to get out of Andy Reid in that offense. Look, like Mike mentioned, the too high safety look that I think kind of took away a lot of big plays, not just away from Kansas City, but just across the league last year. I'm really curious just how offenses in general adjust to that. Really, it's teams that can run the football, I think, that are able to kind of get teams out of that sort of look. Texans weren't able to do it last year. We'll get to them at some point, which is why we saw a bunch of predictability from them. But look, Kansas City's got Pacheco back. That's why, we both mentioned it. Me and Christian did that. It's a huge deal. I think they can use Pacheco to take away some of those too high safety looks. Chargers added Omarion Hampton. They can kind of do the same thing. They've got Quentin Johnston. I like Trey Harris. They got obviously McConkey. So I don't know. I mean, the odds of the Chiefs getting dethroned, I don't think are high, but the teams that are in the mix are certainly interesting. So I'm still taking the Chiefs for what it's worth.
For you, Pat, do you believe, like, of all the teams, do you believe like that any other team had a more deflationary offseason than the Los Angeles Chargers, given the injuries and the accidents and
I mean, when you talk about
uncontrollables?
Sure. It's hard to say. I mean, you came out with your quarterback still on the upswing. There's still belief in Justin Herbert, what he can do. As Turtles, you move Joe Alt to that left side. I still believe in what Harbaugh is going to be able to do just purely off the run game and being able to survive, even if it means being down one of your Pro Bowl tackles. To say, I'd have to think it over whether there's any other teams that have had as deflationary. I mean, like what do you put the Colts at, essentially having to give up on their presumptive starting quarterback, before week one? I mean, that's going to be a tough one, and I'm not high on the Colts this year, so I think I would probably lean towards that. Whereas, the Chargers, even with Rashawn Slater going down, there's still a ton to like about this team. The defense is going to be very good. So I'd have to say probably the Colts would be my pick for that, but
off top,
you can't like your left tackle.
Cowboys too as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Just from a vibe standpoint,
they're gonna have to score about 40 points.
What an uplifting segment! What an uplifting segment to say who's the most depressed going into week one. This is the time for hope. This is the time for excitement.